Evaluate sources for reliability. When you research a topic, it's important to use reliable sources. Reliable means credible, trustworthy, and objective. Finding reliable sources is extremely important to ensure that we understand the whole truth about the topic we're researching. Only then can we provide the most accurate information to our audience. It can be difficult to determine the reliability of a source because sources can fall within a range of reliability. Some sources are completely unreliable, and others are highly reliable, but there are many sources that fall somewhere in between. There are a few ways you can assess the reliability of a source to determine how you should use it in your research or if you should use it at all. First, determine the author or publishing organization. It's important that the author is an expert on the topic. Try to learn more about the author's education and experience in the field. It's also important to determine the author's purpose. Is the sole purpose to inform and educate the reader, or does the author also want to persuade, entertain, or sell something to the audience? Some authors and organizations may be biased. This means the author has such strong feelings or beliefs about a topic, they might ignore conflicting evidence. A biased source may present information that is inaccurate, incomplete, or one-sided in order to persuade the audience to feel a certain way. Sometimes authors may even disguise their writing as informative while actually trying to influence the reader's opinion on a topic. Even educational, nonprofit, governmental, and news organizations can seem reliable but may have an underlying agenda. An agenda is what the organization is trying to accomplish. It's important to recognize the agenda of an organization and seek a variety of sources on the same topic to find the objective truth. Look for common information between sources and references that provide evidence to verify authors' claims. In some cases, it's helpful to consider the date of publication of a source. An original document created at the time of a historical event may be more accurate than a secondary source written years later. Information about current events can change quickly, so sometimes more recent sources have the most up-to-date and accurate information. Scientific understandings can change over time too, so it's important to be aware of any recent findings that may contradict previous conclusions. There are a few types of sources that are commonly unreliable. An advertisement trying to sell a product, service, or idea probably won't provide the most objective information. A personal blog will describe the beliefs or opinions of an individual, but it may not represent the broader consensus on a topic or have supporting evidence. And social media posts often spread biased, inaccurate, or sensational information to influence users' opinions on controversial topics. So as you research a topic, evaluate each source to determine its reliability.
This is the second installment of this trash book writer and liar as well. There's going to be a whole lot more coming, and you see the name of the video, and you see here Taharqa has a list, but I'm just going to focus on one person at this time. But look at the name of the title: The Most Malicious and Slanderous Enemies of Dr. York. Right? So it follows a list of some of the new generation of most regressive, loathsome, vile, destructive, negative, dangerous, slanderous, hypocrites, detractors, vloggers, and agent provocateurs spreading disinformation within the content community, many of whom are ex-Nawabi demons that Dr. Malachi Z. York's same teaching helped to create. All right, Young Pharaoh. All right, I give him that. Young Pharaoh came out against York. General Cedric, General Hashar. I'm not familiar with that guy. It sounds like he's a Hebrew Israelite. But we're gonna deal with who he called Aum Reye. Rest in power. He passed. Then you got Lord Abel, Captain Cesariak, True, Unc the God Killer, true. Garfield, true. Priest Daniela, true. He was trying to put hands and feet on Prince. And what's his name? Damon Pryor, aka Duswa, when that debate between Pharaoh and Seti didn't fall through about was the Metanetta deciphered. Langston, yes, true. Divine Prospect, not true. Sharif Bey, I don't know. I gotta look back into that. And Fari Magdala Malayaka Nagas, not sure about who that person is. I don't know if this is the guy that make the shoes or whatever, but I don't know. But anyway, for those who do know, who he called passed away a few years ago. I think it was a heart condition or something like that. Right? What was a heart condition? I think it was a heart condition. And the sad thing is, we have to sit here and bring this stuff back up. But everybody who was aware, know that who he called did not speak negative about Dr. York. His name, just like the last video with Sheikh Daoud, should not be in this lineup. I'm saying that because I know for a fact, and so does everybody else who knew who he called way better than I did. All right. So again, we deal with source material, which I'm trying to teach this Nigerian book scammer how he should go about going directly to the source. And then if he knew how to do that, he wouldn't put out these disastrous statements. Like I said, shame on you Sabians and the Wabians who have bought this book and seen this stuff and didn't say anything. Don't let your dislike of me and Kwipu and Tarnunet and Nebu and Anud and all these different people, Neb, who spoke out against York and his foolishness, get in the way of speaking out against things that y'all know to be lies. Now, let's jump over here to his page. This is who he calls YouTube, right? It's still up. All right. If you look through his page, right? If you look at some of these, you see who he calls he was leaning more of a Buddhist type of way. He was more into love and stuff like that. He went on Sarnetta and he spoke about transitioning from the Wapo. He didn't come to noon. He spoke on it a little bit, and that's about it. Who he called had 2 women. I think he had a little baby before he passed. Again, if you go through what videos you could find of him, you won't see him talking bad about Afro Uno Parnabar. That's a fact. Like I said, we deal with the facts. We're not finna sit here and try to twist anything. And again, if you just look at the stuff, what he was talking about then, he was always about peace. Even though he was spitting a lot of information, he later started to correct. I think if had he lived long enough, he would have been a lot more clear. And a lot of times he just, like a lot of people that find flaws in York's teachings, they just try to find a middle ground, and either they just try to better themselves and leave it behind, or they just find a way to not entertain it. So just looking at this particular, like I said, this YouTube, and you can go on Facebook, go on his Facebook, and you're gonna see number positive stuff. He was into positivity. He wasn't about talking negative. That just was the type of person that he was. So we're just gonna keep showing and providing the facts and evidence that Taharqa and his crew are spreading lies after the facts have been shown and proven. So after this, I'm gonna drop a little something, and you can hear who he called for your own about this particular topic, and I'll let you be the judge. True men to calm the peace in wartime. War times.
Yo, our bad family, peace and love. This is NoopooH. I want to touch on an important topic, especially for the Wapians and NoopooHs. So, we have two great individuals that a lot of melanated people or Ethiopian people pay homage to. One is Afro Uno. His original name is Johnny Eugene Brown, affectionately named Afro Uno. And then we have Dwight York, affectionately called Pa Nababi Anun. So we have two individuals, basically authors, spiritualists, and scientists. I would like to call them scientists. But just to get down to who these individuals really are, because we have a lot of debating. Oh, Dr. York stole from Afro Uno. Afro Uno took this from Dr. York. Who is Amanubi Rakata? You know, that name Amanubi Rakata, everyone's debating, oh, this is Dr. York, this is Afro Uno. But if people take their time and use 9 reasoning, they can figure out what's actually going on here. If you listen to what I read to you, which seemed really difficult because my screen is so cracked, Afro Uno was more so of an introvert. He wasn't the type of person to go out in front of a lot of people and teach and go out of his way and do that. He was an introvert, and he represented spiritual awareness. So he was a really spiritual individual. As we know, he wrote Introduction to Nature of Nature, Moonset and Sunrise. We know he wrote, I think Behind the Nine Ball. I'm not sure if he wrote Behind the 9 Ball. Actually, he did write Behind the 9 Ball, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of people was debating if Dr. York or Afro Uno wrote that. Here are really dynamic individuals. And I want to point out something very key for NoopooHs and Nuwapians. None of these brothers ever talk bad about each other. None of them talk bad about each other. Dr. York or Dwight York, Pa Nababi Anun, never talk bad about Afro Uno, and Afro Uno never talk bad about Pa Nababi Anun. So the people who are talking bad about each other are NoopooHs and Nuwapians. NoopooHs, they say Dr. York stole from Afro Uno, right? They say Dr. York didn't write Behind the Nine, with Bible interpretation 1 and 2. It was Afro Uno. Afro Uno did this, it's more so going back and forth of the two. If you can find me one audio of Afro Uno talking bad about Pa Nababi Anun or Pa Nababi Anun talking bad about Afro Uno, then we could talk. The problem is not the teachers. The problem are the people, the followers who follow the teachers, because they make the problem. After Jesus died, they made a whole religion for him.
All right. He made a big mistake by saying that the problem came from the followers. That's it. That's incorrect. The problem came from the misleader. York is the problem. He's the one that made a career talking about other people and taking their information and warping it to fit his own understanding. And so that's the problem here. We done already solved it by showing you who the originator was and who the faker was. So you can't put that on Afro Uno, and you can't put that on NoopooHs, because we are actually reacting to the wrong that was done.